Well, everybody, I'm Cantonese Cat. Hey everybody, Cantonese Cat here at the end of the year. Let's look at the monthly candle for the S&P 500. For the S&P 500, there's really nothing to get scared about here. It broke through the 1.618 fit level that was calculated from the 2022 January high to the cycle low here in October 2022. It broke above the 1.618 last month, and it's just simply back testing it this month. Really not much to necessarily get concerned over here. On the QQQ here though, on the NASDAQ, there is something that is looking a little bit more nasty. This is typically thought as a little bit of a bearish candle, if not a lot of bearish candle. This is a classic gravestone bearish candle. It favors bearish continuation on the next candle. Now, does that mean that this bull trend is over? Does that mean that this is it for the QQQ, that NASDAQ's going to plummet all the way down, even backtest its previous all-time high? I've seen bears even draw big giant arrows to down here. I don't know. All I have to say is that you cannot just take into one single candle in isolation and think that this is the top, right? If you think this is a bearish candle, then this also would have been a bearish candle over here, right? So I don't necessarily want to subscribe to the idea that that single candle has to be bearish, because every single candle is followed by a trend, and every single candle is followed by certain levels that has been broken and has been back testing, right? If I just zoom out here all the way back to where I started drawing this Gann square over here, which is the bottom of the Great Financial Crisis, you can see how this arc here has been serving as pretty decent support and resistance levels all the way up to here, where it got rejected, came back test the angle over here, and we were able to push through this arc here perfectly. Resistance here, back test to the arc here. Where are we at right now? We're at a horizontal level up here. We broke through that in November. We spent 4 months trying to break through that. We were able to break through that in November. Where are we at right now? If this bearish candle is to work out, then the next candle would minimally have a little bit of a wick underneath below here. Could the wick end up coming back testing the 1.414 or the horizontal line over here? Could you have the next January candle initially up going down to touch 490, 295, somewhere around there, and back test the horizontal zone before further bullish continuation? Is possible, right? I'm also going to show you some example as to why I don't think QQQ has really topped per se. I'm going to get rid of all this here. I'm going to show you the Bollinger Band, and I'll also show you the RSI. The RSI actually is going to be it's going to be more of a key here. Let me actually get rid of the Bollinger Band. Now, usually for the last few cycles, there's really not much of a parabolic bull trend where you just have complete RSIs shooting all the way up. Before the bull cycle over, you're usually going to see a little bit of a bearish, how do you say that? You're going to have some bearish divergence that you're going to see with price going up and RSI going down. Pretty much every single cycle, right? Basically, you're seeing 4 cycles here. One cycle here, one cycle here, one cycle here, another cycle here, right? We're starting another cycle here. With every single cycle, whenever it topped here, you can see a little bit of a bearish divergence right there. Even here, you have bearish divergence, but it just just kept on going, right? Here, what happened? Well, you have a little bit of trend exhaustion here. You have a little bit of bearish divergence here, so you went down straight for 3 months, right? Bearish divergence, right? Played out. Here, what do you have here? You have price going up, RSI going down, bearish divergence, 4 months of downtrend, right? Here, what's been going on? Push, push, push up, way up, right? Parabolic bull trend. You're starting to get a little bit of exhaustion over here for a few months, right? RSI going down, big plummet. So far, are we seeing any sign for any bearish divergence so far? No, we're not. There's no sign for bearish divergence, right? So I don't think we really have topped here during this cycle. So this candle over here is just a, even though it's like it's so nasty looking. It's like a perfect gravestone doji candle that's like typically like, yeah, it's bearish. But I'm not sure. I mean, I'm just not sure. Look at the weekly. Look at the weekly. All is just basically break out this horizontal zone over here and back testing it. Could go down a little bit lower to like 500, 490s. Sure it can, right? Break through, back test, nothing bearish about it. It just happens that the timing just create a big giant nasty gravestone candle here. Have I seen these kind of candles and how do they usually work out? Well, I just showed you another one for the QQQ, and that was okay, right? Have I seen this on other things like, for example, like NVDA? I've seen a couple of them. Like this over here, I think it's like almost like a perfect, not nearly as perfect as the one that I saw, right? And having bullish continuation moving forward. I'm not really seeing another one of these here. Here you also have a pretty decent gravestone doji candle over here. End up just having a big giant bullish continuation moving afterwards, right? So do I think that QQQ has topped? Do I think the market is topped? Do I think that we're going to end up crashing the greatest crash ever after crashing multiple times, once, twice, 3 times, multiple crashes on the way up? Do I think it's going to crash right when you just broke through again, line over here, right when you just broke through 1.414 level here? Probably not. I think it could backtest this level here, and there's not really anything to get scared about. IWM, how's IWM doing? IWM is doing great. Everybody's pretty upset, I guess, with the bearish candle over here that basically has been reversing the entire up candle over here in November. December is something to forget, I suppose. But if you just look at the Ichimoku cloud here, there's nothing bearish about it. You had the bullish cross, you have the Tenkan here serving as perfect support. As perfect support over here on this wick, right? There's really nothing bearish about this. It's basically breaking through is way above the Tenkan, and it's just coming back testing it. If anything, I think this is probably one of the most healthy bull trend I've seen for a very long time. It's just been riding this like katana, riding this Tenkan all up, and it's been looking pretty decent so far, right? It's above the monthly cloud. There's really nothing that is really getting me like super scared right now when I'm looking at the IWM chart here. So the thing about the IWM chart here too is if you look at a weekly chart, you can see that it's just been forming higher highs and higher lows ever since October 2023, right? If you're looking at all these moving averages, it's still stacked to the bull side, 20 over 50 over 100. It is breaking down underneath a little bit of bull run support band, but that's okay. It does that all the time, right? On the way up, it's expanding. It looks like the bull trend is becoming more and more powerful. And also, if you look at the volume, you have the capitulation volume over here. And since then, it's just been kind of hovering around here. Some people might call this a little bit of a bear flag here, but it's always a bear flag until it goes up, right? It's always a bear flag until it goes up. And the primary trend is to the upside. So I actually am not that sad about this month. If anything, I'm just looking at this as a back test to really reset the sentiment, because right now the sentiment is absolutely horrible. ARK Fund, ARKK, what is it doing? Well, it also has a little bit of a bearish, hammer, inverse hammer top kind of look over here, but it's also got above the 0.382. Could it come back and back test again, horizontal level over here, where it's been basically broke out of this level over here? Possible, right? You could even consolidate sideways here a little bit. All this chart here actually is telling me that maybe January could be a bullish month, maybe not. I might have to take my other video back, because the last week has just been absolutely brutal, and a lot of technical damage has been done on low volume. But all it takes sometimes just a little bit of volume to pick up. I don't want to be too absolutist about everything. All I'm going to say is that so far the downtrend over here on the back test here on the weekly for ARK Fund has been a low volume. When you have low volume back tests like that, sometimes it doesn't take a whole lot to push up. I can see maybe January start up a little bit more bearish, back test the level down here, and it just keeps on going up from there, right? And it would be a completely reasonable thing to do, because this gain line over here has resistance here and there, and it's not been back tested, right? So that would have been entirely reasonable for it to do. You can claim that to be a little bit of a back test, but not really. Right? So if I'm looking at the DXY here, now you look at the DXY, you'd be like, it just keeps on wanting to go up higher. I've seen maybe a little bit of like a megaphone pattern. When it comes to megaphone patterns, depends on where you want to draw it. Are you going to touch the wick here? Are you going to touch the wick here? To me, it doesn't really matter. It's just the idea that this is a megaphone pattern. If you're going to move, are you going to operate this wick over here? It's hard to say, right? The US dollar could keep on going up a lot higher, but overall the trend is that it wants to go down. It's forming a megaphone. Usually when it comes to these megaphone pattern, you're going to have some continuation of the let's see, of the primary trend here. So if let's say if the let's say if the primary trend was going to be down, after the megaphone is going to go down, right? And so far we have the primary trend is now down, and after the megaphone maybe down. We'll see. All right, we're getting close to resistance again. It depends on where you want to draw the line up here and there. It depends on what you want to do. But regardless, it looks like the 2-year yields are going down, as I've previously mentioned, because if you look at the Ichimoku, you can see how the Tenkan in the kitchen, blue line, the red line has been serving as resistance. Looks like price is just forming a little bit around the top. Looks like it wants to go down to 3.2, 3.3, 3.4%, somewhere around there, down there, which is not a bearish thing, right? VIX has been a little bit of an inside candle, not really doing too much, except that the monthly got rejected here at the bottom of the very, very thick Ichimoku cloud. So I don't think VIX is going to necessarily shoot up that much higher anytime soon, especially after this wick up here went up to like 65 back in August. I think that was, this is like once in a decade kind of thing, and this decade we already have like 2. So just something to kind of think about. Right now VIX is underneath pretty strong resistance here. Now I'm going to go through 3 other charts here in terms of what I'm thinking. The first one is going to be NVDA. NVDA is a little bit tricky. Let me go ahead and switch that to logarithmic so I'm not freaking out looking at this. Looking at the log chart here, you can see that clearly got rejected at the 2.272 FIB level. It can potentially come back down to back test the ARK up here, which is going to be like the 1-teens. It's going to freak everybody out because they've just been doing absolutely nothing for almost the entire like half year or 8 months. You can potentially come back down, back test the ARK, build up some more energy, push through, and go higher. I still think it's going to go higher because we broke through this ARK up here, right? So if I take away the FIB levels here, you can see how whenever it breaks above the ARK up here, it tends to gravitate up to the next horizontal zone, right? It tends to want to gravitate up to the horizontal zone. Does it stop short of it this cycle? Possible. But right now, we broke through the ARK. It's not at the end of the world if it ends up back testing it and go higher. This is not the end of the world if that ends up happening, right? The entire uptrend here is, it's, been really, really, really powerful. And so far, it's just been going sideways here on low volume. There's no volume here at all. And they're just kind of working out their technicals. Maybe it comes back down, back tested, maybe not. I think it's still a higher high here. It may need to find a higher low before going up higher, but I'm not necessarily going to be that scared in terms of what's happening next. The other chart here that I want to talk about is going to be Palantir. What does Palantir do? Well, let's look at it. I'm going to take away the Gann arc here because that was drawn on a weekly. You can see there's increasing volume, very, very healthy uptrend, except that it's not that healthy because it's way outside the upper Bollinger Band here. It did push about the 1.236 or even the 1.272, which is another FIB level that a lot of people are looking at. It actually got rejected there this month. So there you have it. This is a very important FIB level, got rejected at the 1.272. Could the next month end up going sideways? Could next month end up going correcting through price, coming back down here a little bit? The Bollinger Band is going to tell the story. I don't know where the Bollinger Band is going to end up next month. That could potentially be where it wants to tag before going up higher. I mentioned for weeks and weeks and weeks that it could go down to 60 and it'll still be a bullish chart, right? And next month it would go down to 60 and it's going to be a pretty major correction. If it ends up doing that, it'd be like 20% correction. It'll still be a bullish chart, right? So I wouldn't necessarily let anybody scare you that this is absolute top here. I think that this trend is just gotten started because the low Bollinger Band is still expanding to the downside. So I'm not really that scared about what Palantir can bring, even though the valuation, some people think is joke, and I think it's funny that they're talking about valuation. Because this is a PE expansion on a pretty powerful story, and usually technicals lead fundamentals. I don't know what fundamentals is going to show, but we'll see, right? Am I scared about Tesla? Absolutely not. My partner in crime, the great Matt Speed, has also shown you the monthly candle here is the highest monthly candle close ever. This is an all-time high monthly candle close, right? So there's nothing to be scared about this. The trend is bullish. It's just simply a little bit overextended. It's simply just kind of correcting by bringing price back down to get closer to the monthly Bollinger Band that is expanding, that is going to end up allowing price to go up even higher over time. So there's nothing really that I'm really that scared about Tesla. I think Tesla right now with the Bollinger Band expansion, very similar to over here. Sometimes you get overextended and you end up having a major correction, and that's okay, right? Sometimes you end up pushing up and everybody gets scared. You have a wick here. Is this the top? Not necessarily. You have 4 more really bullish candles after that. You have 3 more really bullish candles after that. Then the uptrend continues for another year, right? So as far as I'm concerned, I don't think there's anything really that bearish on Tesla if you're not over leveraged, if you're not needing the price just keep on going up to the moon. I actually think that this setup here is quite favorable for Tesla moving forward. I'm talking about the next year. I'm not talking about the next month. I'm not talking about the next 3 months. I'm talking about the next year. Although I do think it's probably going to end up having some bam, bam, bam up candle here for maybe Q1 and Q2 based on the way that it's looking. Anyway, just want to share you my perspective real quick on the indexes and 3 major stocks here that are to my that I pay attention to: Palantir, Tesla, and NVDA. Anyway, take care. Have a good one. Happy New Year. Bye.